I'm Ulrich Wienecke, a citizen scientist working for several years on the gastropod superfamily Stromboidea. I'm also a thematic editor for that group in the World Register of Marine Species and MolluscaBase. In April 2023, a book with the title Fossilien aus dem Campan von Hannover was published, where I co-authored the chapters about gastropoda and bivalvia. We identified 147 species of gastropods, a lot of them new to science. The book aimed at collectors in Hanover as a guide to identify their findings. No nomenclatural actions were taken. We decided to do a complete revision on Campanian gastropods. Within this revision, we want to create chresonymies for each species. Chresonomy is the attempt to find all literature where the species is mentioned or where the original name or epithet is used. The references of chresonomy contain a lot of information about the species, like locality data, species concept of authors, and their usage of nomenclatural rules, the ICZN rules. An example of a chresonymy is shown here. The original name called basionym is Chenopus buchii. The chresonymy shows that it is placed over the time into 5 different genera. Besides the historic broad upright Chenopus rostellaria, are 2 genus names are used in the more recent discussion, Helicaulax and Cornovenia. The publication year and the spelling of the epithet are interpreted differently, you can see it here, by various authors. We used the chronospecies concept for our revision. That resulted in a lot of usages of the epithet buchii for other species, which is summarized in the non section. This is the non section. There are several taxonomic and nomenclatural challenges in a revision of species. There is one challenge that is often not in the mind of authors. Do I know the relevant literature? In a chresonomy, you try to find all related literature, but how sure you can be to have found it? In this chart, you can see a literature density for Chenopus buchii. This is the blue line here. On the foregoing slide, as seen in the chresonomy of the foregoing slide, the blue line. The orange line shows the distribution found in MolluscaBase for Stromboidea. There is a gap of references for buchii for the years 1920 to 1970, so you see here, which is not found in the Stromboidea curve. What is the reason for this? The Stromboidea references are gathered by specialists who are looking for new taxa, a piece of information often found in title and abstract of a publication, and therefore relatively easy found by a search in title and abstract databases, which were created from the 1960s to 70s on. Title and abstract can be used without copyright restrictions. Entries of a chresonomy are often hidden in the text or in tables of a publication, so they are only findable if you read the text or if there is a full text search available. Full text search usually is only available for digitized literature. A lot of literature in the years 1920 to 1970 is not digitized for several reasons. Publications by smaller societies or publishers that cannot afford digitizing are hard to find. For copyright reasons, publications are not digitized by big projects like e.g. the Biodiversity Heritage Library. The conclusion is that you have to do paper reading in the library, which is very cumbersome and takes a lot of time. A lot of basal information for building a chresonymy is already findable in MolluscaBase. MolluscaBase is a taxonomy-oriented database maintained by experts and freely searchable via internet. At the moment it contains about 120,000 accepted species names, 300,000 names including synonyms and original names, but only about 35,000 fossils. It is updated continuously based on published information. Editors have to respect the ICZN rules and are not allowed to enter their own opinion. Here is a sample page for Campanian buchi. It shows the accepted name, the higher classification, synonyms including the original name, the reference of the original description, and an image in this case. There are also fields that add additional information and notes. You may miss some information or think a given information is incorrect. In that case, please contact one of the editors, at best with the references at hand that can correct the incorrect database entry. Back to my example. On this slide you see specimens of the type species of the related genera. Rostellaria, nowadays tibia, Chenopus and Apparais, nowadays synonym, were in the past used in a broad sense. That is no longer in use for this example. They show a slightly different morphology, and buchi is nowadays considered as not belonging to this genera. The two genera that occur in the chresonymy are Helicaulax and Carnovenia. Both show a single digit, more or less perpendicular to the spire. Both have an extension of the aperture parallel to the spire here and here. Helicaulax, the appendix is channeled. It is not channeled in Carnovenia. The sculpture of Carnovenia is consisting of spiral lines, that of Helicaulax of axial ribs. And on the last wall, more or less pointy ornamentation, the combination of axial and spiral ribs. Buchi, that's buchi, does not fit into both genera. It differs from Helicaulax in the ornamentation, so only spiral lines, and from Carnovenia in the channeled extension parallel to the spire. In Carnovenia it is not channeled, here it is channeled. So there is a paleogenus that fits better. This is Areodactylus, so spiral, channeled, perpendicular, and also a big shell. This is small and these are big, large. Let me summarize. Chresonymies help in a taxonomic revision, but to create chresonymies may be a hard job. MolluscaBase may be a good starting point. Thanks for your attention.